It's going to be harder. So I'm thinking maybe we only get to do the first two, like 8 words, because the words are going to be harder. So it's going to take more explanation and more time. And I have an extra question at the end as well. And all the questions are harder because this is level 1. So welcome to level 1. It's challenge time. First, following the accident, the driver was with shock. So this is going to be surprised because they're shocked. They were in the accident. Shocking. Surprising is kind of the word that we're going for. Maybe they can't move, something like that, like frozen with shock, something like that. The police had to wait for 3 days before she was able to say anything that made sense. So the police tried to talk to the person. They were hurt, so they weren't able to speak clearly for 3 days. So let's look at our choices. The first one is decadent. And this means rich, expensive, too much. We usually so decadent, it's like the feeling is like you have chocolate cake and then you put chocolate sauce on it. So there's like too much chocolate. That's decadent. It also would be very high quality chocolate, that kind of feeling. So the dessert, was a very decadent chocolate cake. The dessert was a very was a chocolate cake with rich, sweet, expensive chocolate. So decadent is kind of like a feeling. You can... So this is level 1. It's getting hard to explain these really quickly and easily. You can also use decadent for a lifestyle. The rich people lived a decadent lifestyle. These rich people, they have a lot of money. The rich people lived their lives without thinking about money. So they just spent money whenever they wanted. So, I see a new car, I'll just buy the new car. There's a $50,000 coat, I'm just going to buy the coat. They don't think about it. Their lifestyle is decadent. Whenever they want something, they get something. So that's another part of decadence, is you don't think about, I have to save money for tomorrow, I have to do something else. It's just you do whatever you want whenever you want. So decadent, usually, I can't say positive or negative, because decadent chocolate's great. It would be like a treat. But if you lived like that all the time, it would be bad. So that's maybe the problem. Is in some situations, decadent is good because it's like special. If you live a decadent lifestyle, that's not good because it's too much. So that's really the thing. The word I've used the most is too much. Second word, ecstatic. Super happy. I use super a lot. I kind of feel like I use super too much. This word means this only more. So I always say super. So ecstatic means super happy. She was ecstatic at the news that she was going to have a baby. She was super happy at the news that she was going to have a baby. Yeah. Ecstatic, though, it's going to be a very high energy. It's going to be like, it's not just like, oh, hey, this is great. Oh, this is going to be like, my life has changed. I've won the lottery. I don't have to work anymore. I can do whatever I want. My kids are successful. A dream has come true. That's how happy you are. So I'm super happy that people are watching these Sounds Great English videos. I'm ecstatic that they're so popular. I can do this full time, maybe something like that. It's like a dream comes true. Okay, so the next one, incoherent. Means can't speak, but can make noise. So this one is a little different, a little difficult, a little confusing. Yeah, can't speak is wrong because you can speak, but you don't make sense. That's better. So incoherent is so can't speak. Okay, so that's actually it's two, but they have the same feeling. So my first example was you can't speak, but you can make noise. So I get hit in the head, and I go oh. So it's like I'm trying to speak. I'm making sounds, but you, as the listener, cannot understand the sounds I'm making. Incoherent could also be I'm saying words, but the words don't match, so they don't make any sense. If I made the text here, there you go. I made it super small. You can't read it. It's now incoherent. You can't read it. Let's put it back where it was. If I made too much noise, so I put on music in the background, and you can see I'm speaking, it's incoherent. I can't understand. So maybe that's actually it. People can't understand what you are saying. Because it's actually maybe I can speak, I can make sounds, but because the words I'm using don't work, they don't make sense. Other people, incoherent is actually more about other people. They can't understand the words I'm saying. Okay, so incoherent. Oh, well, there's my example. He got hit in the head. You can see this matches the sentence very well. So this is our answer. He got hit in the head and was incoherent for a few minutes. So that maybe he's a boxer. Punched in the face. And he tries to talk after that. And he's not able to, he got hit in the head. Whoop. And was not able to speak for a few minutes. He got hit in the head, and when he spoke, he didn't make sense for a few minutes. Okay. Yeah, that's about all I can say about incoherent. The last one, disgruntled. You actually read about this one a lot if you read the news. If you read about working in North America, you get a lot of disgruntled employees. And it actually just means not happy, usually with work. It's not always. I could be disgruntled, not happy about most situations, but we use disgruntled employee. We use this phrase a lot in news when they talk about someone who quit a job, who was angry at their boss, that kind of thing. They're a disgruntled employee. So you actually see that phrase a lot. So if you're reading the news, disgruntled employee means someone who was very unhappy with their work, very unhappy with the job situation they were in. Let's just move down to the next page. He worked at the company for 10 years. When management changed, he became very disgruntled. I shouldn't really type out the whole thing every time. sort of good practice for me for typing, but then I have to look down. So he worked at the company for 10 years. When management changed, he became very unhappy with the company or with his job or with his new managers. Something like that, yeah. So if we go back to the sentence, following the accident, the driver was shocked. So decadent is all about rich, expensive lifestyle. That's not right because it's with shock, right? This is actually the important part. And then also the second part of the sentence, wait for 3 days before she was able to say anything that made sense. That's the important one. Ecstatic, super happy. Was she super happy because she was in a car accident? Was she super happy so that she couldn't speak? You could be so ecstatic, you are incoherent. So, we'll make a new sentence. The surprise party was so exciting. When she came in and saw there was a surprise party, she was so ecstatic, by typing ecstatic, that she was incoherent. So she came in, she was so surprised, but in a happy way, she couldn't speak. That sentence actually works. But this is negative. So incoherent, there was shock and not able to say anything. So incoherent means you can't speak properly. Disgruntled, I mean, obviously very disgruntled if you were in an accident. We often use disgruntled for workplace things. Okay. Let's go on to the second question. Although the professor tried to explain the different theories regarding black holes, his lecture was so that none of his students could understand it. So this is going to be his lecture was so complicated or so confusing that the students couldn't understand it. Because if you're going to teach something to students, maybe I understand it, I have to speak very clearly and simply so the students can understand. If I try to teach you English vocabulary, and so here's the word incoherent, and I try to use more difficult words to explain it, you won't understand. So that's what we're looking for, a word that means don't understand. The first word is luscious. Wow. Luscious. I actually kind of want to look it up myself. I have always used luscious for hair. Long, soft, beautiful, thick hair. So it's that feeling. Is that right? Let's check the dictionary. Let's Learner's Dictionary. There's a very good dictionary, the Merriam-Webster. Learner's Dictionary is very good. So in here, we're going to go with luscious. I want to make sure it's not just hair. Having a delicious taste or smell, excessively sweet, sexually attractive. I understand that one. I wouldn't use that very. Her luscious voice, luxurious, appealing to the senses. Okay, maybe that's where I'm going. So she has beautiful long hair. It appeals to my senses. Because the one having a delicious taste or smell, I understand that. Luscious whipped cream, luscious chocolate. And we're on a chocolate theme today. I understand those. Sexually attractive, okay. I would use other words. Seductive and sexy, those are better words. But richly luxurious or appealing to the senses. I think the appealing to the senses is the bit I'm thinking, and that's why I thought about hair. So I don't want to use the exact words. Appealing to the senses. attractive to feelings. Because again, touch is a feeling, smell is a feeling. Again, then we should use senses. Attractive to senses, like touch, smell. Just so it's clear. So since I said hair, I'm just going to stay with hair. She had very long, luscious hair. She had long. I just have to use more adjectives. Beautiful, shiny hair. So it's soft. We could throw in another word. Wow, I just keep throwing in words. Soft. Long, beautiful, shiny, soft hair. So I see it. I want to touch it. I'm very jealous. I don't have any hair. Okay. Let's move on. Convoluted. Convoluted is a very good word. The problem is if I read the sentence and I know the answer, then my example sentence often is very similar to the one they make in there, which is probably not the best way. I'm trying to do different sentences so you get a different feeling for the word. Convoluted means hard to understand. Usually an explanation. A speech or way of talking. So if you think about someone who's trying to explain an idea you don't understand and they get more and more complicated, it becomes very convoluted because I cannot follow what you are saying to me. So this is something I worry about when I talk to other English teachers, because you go to university and in university they teach you to sound smart. To sound smart is actually a big mistake when you're teaching. You want to make everything simple. So if you try to sound smarter and then the students ask more questions and then you try to sound smarter and smarter and smarter and use bigger and bigger words, it gets very convoluted very quickly. The teacher explained everything. This is very similar to the other sentence. I don't want to do it. I want to change it to something different so you get it like this is, there's no point in me giving their example sentence as my example sentence. I want to use a different example sentence. I feel like it's cheating. I want to do this live so you can see it happen. But then I get stuck in the, like, I've seen the answer, so now I just want to give the answer, which is not what I want to do. Okay. The movie. The movie plot was so convoluted that I don't even know who the main character was. So I saw a movie. The movie was so confused and complicated, I don't even know who the main person was. That's actually not too bad. Because I'm thinking like, there's the movie Memento. Memento is a movie, it's like about 15 years old now. The story in Memento goes backwards. There's the movie Inception. And there's real world and you go into a dream and then into a dream and then into a dream and then it gets very complicated and confusing. Those are convoluted stories. Very good. I enjoyed them, but very complicated and difficult. The movie plot was so confusing and difficult. I don't even know who the main character was. So I think we know that that's the right answer for this one. He's talking about black holes. It's a very difficult story. His explanation is not good. Which means it's not going to be a good explanation for students. Homogeneous or homogeneous. I am North American, so I say homogeneous. And it really just means everything. Whoa. I got to work on my typing. The same or similar. I think Japan is a good example. Japan is very homogeneous. Oh, did I spell it wrong? I putting in an extra N. I'm sorry. It's a very homogeneous society. Japan is a society with mostly Japanese people. So Japan as a country, it's like 98, 99% Japanese people. So as a society, as a group, as a country, it's mostly Japanese people. If it's mostly Japanese people, it's homogenous. I'm from Canada. Most people who live in Canada come from another country. I was born in the UK. We went to Canada when I was a baby. I became Canadian when I was 7. So the country of Canada, where people come from, is very mixed. Japan, there are only 2% foreigners in Japan. I haven't checked in a long time, but it's going to be less than 5 for sure. Japan is 95% Japanese people from Japan who were born in Japan. Those people have the same culture, same background. So Japan is a very homogeneous society. And the last one here is exploited. Because I read a lot of news, exploited is usually about work or people are being exploited. The workers, how do you say? It's like taking too much. So if I exploit, because again, we usually talk about exploiting people. So I have a company and I exploit my workers means I try to get more work and I pay them too little. So companies always want to pay the minimum and get the most work, but there's a point where it's like abuse. And when you do that, then you're exploiting someone. We talk about exploiting resources, and it would be taking too much. So in Canada, they are currently exploiting the mines, the lithium. That's not a good example. They're mining too much. They're exploiting the resources in the country because they're taking too much out of the ground and it's going to do damage. So there's also a damage feeling to the word exploited. Let's stick to workers. In Japan, they have a thing called black company. So this will make it very easy to understand. The black company exploited workers by making them work overtime without pay. This is a very real, very common problem in Japan. Black company exploited, in this case, we could just say abused workers by making them work overtime without pay. The black company took too much from workers by making them work overtime. So if I have to work 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, I read a story about the anime industry and how the people who work in anime have to work hundreds and hundreds of hours and they get very, very low pay and they feel exploited. So that's been 20 minutes. I was going to do a sample question, but I want to keep these to about 30 minutes each. There are 5 questions. I could probably do one of these questions. I'm going to skip that. Let's go to the question I had from a student. Cheap. So we're going to go to a new page. And it is cheap. Oh, and cheap. I gotta type better, Peter. Okay, so the first example is he is cheap. Second example is It is cheap. And the third example is, well, it is cheap. Like, wow, these are terrible examples. It's very convoluted what I'm doing here. So he is cheap is the easiest one. That's why I did it first. He is cheap means he doesn't like to spend money. That's it. So if it's a person and the person is cheap, they don't like to spend money. So if they don't like to spend money, like we go out for dinner and we're going to share the bill. And then he's always like, well, I didn't have any drinks, so I should pay less. I didn't eat that, so I should pay less. You go out and then he's always trying to get you to pay. Oh, can I borrow money? And then he never pays it back. That kind of feeling is someone is cheap. Now there, it is cheap. I should put it up here. In a good way, not expensive. So that's important that we have a good example and a bad example. Let's get some space. It is cheap. So I got this Rolex watch. Cheap. Wow. So I got this Rolex watch at a very good low price. But you see, if this is a real Rolex watch, then it's still very high quality. But if I got a good price, I got it cheap. Now, it is cheap. So this is going to be in a bad way. Low quality. So I bought a fake Rolex and it's really cheap. I bought a fake Rolex and it is very low quality. I actually bought a fake Rolex on the internet. It was about 10,000 yen. So for, $100 is still expensive for a watch. But I was very interested in what. So I had my mother buy me a fake Rolex for my birthday. And it looked very good. When you touched it, it didn't feel good. It looked really good. It looked real, but it didn't keep good time. And if I want my watch to do anything, is to keep the time properly. And then 6 months later, it basically broke. So it was cheap, it was low quality. So that's our vocabulary for today. I will post this document. I will put a link in the description to the Google Doc folder so you could download this. You can look at it and make notes as you listen to the video. And thank you. I'll see you next time.